Welcome to eSonMicro-LAB. This is Part 8 C# classes. In this tutorial, we will review class definition, constructors, and overloading constructors. Please don't forget to subscribe and click on the notifications. Please let me know in the comment section any feedback you may have. Your opinion is very much appreciated. Classes. The cornerstone of object-oriented programming is the use of classes. C# is an object-oriented programming language, and classes and objects are the two main aspects within C# development environment. We have seen and discussed several data types, such as double, integers, float, and etc. However, to create a more complex or custom type, the use of classes can be the preferred option. Overall, classes are consisting of data as fields and behavior as methods. As an example, let's consider the following class. Looking at the example class student, we can say that a class may consist of data represented by fields and behavior represented by methods. In our example, fields represent data such as first name, last name, grade, and if the student is a honor student. Methods represent what our class can do, such as printing the student information, student full name, honor status, and etc. To create a class, we start with the keyword class, followed by the class name. Constructors. A constructor can be used to initialize variables. The question that is often asked is, do we have to use constructors? Not necessarily. If we do not use constructors, C# will provide one automatically. However, the usage of these automatically created constructors are arguably very much limited. Let's switch to Visual Studios. To create a class, we use the keyword class followed by the class name. For example, class, student. Let's provide some variables. A string, first name. A string, last name. Integer, GPA for grade point average. And maybe bool for honor status. All right. So these variables that we've just created, we can safely say that they are state or data. Next step is to create a constructor. A constructor initializes the class fields such as first name, last name, grade, and honor. It is important to realize that constructors should have the same name as of the class. For example, public, student, and let's pass some parameters. String, student first name, comma, string, student last name, comma, and student GPA, comma, and bool student honor. All right. So we have public as access modifier. Student is the name of the constructor. That should be the same as the class name, and we are passing the following: string first name, string last name, integer GPA, and boolean honor. So let's initialize our variables. First name equal to student first name, last name is student last name, GPA is student GPA, and honor is equal to student honor status. So this is how we create a constructor. We'll discuss about constructors and the parameters that we pass later in this tutorial. But please keep in mind that the purpose for constructor is to initialize our variables. And please understand that constructors do not return a value. So here we just created a constructor to initialize our variables. All right. To make sure that these variables are specific to our class student, we can also include the keyword this throughout. So let's copy this. Now, basically what this means, it means that these variables are of the student class and it belongs to the student class. So the next step is to see what our class can do. Maybe a method, function, maybe our class can do some calculation or what have you. For example, public, void, print, student info, console.writeLine. For sake of time, I have already typed the information required. Student full name, this.first name, this.last name, grade point average, this.GPA, and the honor status. Now, to utilize our class, let's go ahead, go to the main, and first we need to instantiate our class, the student. Let's provide a name, st, equal to new student. Let's go ahead and pass some values. James, comma, Walter, comma, grade point average 4, and the honor status is true. And we can also call the print student info, st.print student info. And let's run our application to see how it works. So as you can tell, the application worked as expected. We have the student full name, which is James Walter, and the grade point average is 4. And is he a honor student? Yes, he is. Overloading constructors. As we have indicated before, constructors provide developers the ability to initialize fields within a class. Constructors do not have a return value and share the same name as of the class. Continuing with our example, we can create another instance of the student class providing optional parameters. Let us switch to Visual Studios to see an example. So continuing with our previous example, we've created a constructor here and passing these parameters, first name, last name, GPA, and honor status. Now, as we have discussed, do we need constructors? No, not really. What if we comment these out? Now we are getting an error indicating that the student does not contain a constructor that takes 4 arguments. So what if we just remove these values? So when we don't list a constructor, C# will provide a default constructor without any parameters. Let's run our application. So as you can see, we have a student full name without any values, grade point average of 0, and honor is equal to false. Now, can we have default values for our variables here? Yes, we can. For example, public, student, column, this. Now, we have 4 variables here, first name, last name, GPA, and honor. So for the first one, just for example, we give no value. Similarly, for last name, no value. For the integer type, 0. And for the Boolean type, false. Now let's go ahead and uncomment this. Now, we have an object of the student class without any parameters. Let's run our application. Now, as you can tell, we are getting the default values, no value, grade point average of 0, and honor status false. Now, what if we create another instance of our student class? For example, student st1 equal to new student. Now, if we look at TeleSense, it says one of 2 constructors. The first one is student without any values. We are not passing any values to the student class. Now, the second one is a string first name, last name, GPA, and honor. So this is what we call overloading a constructor. So what we could do here, James, comma, Walter, grade point average 4, Honor status, true. Now we call our function to print student info, so st1 dot print info. Now let's run our application. So as you can tell, the first line here is using the default values that we have provided. No value, grade point average of 0, honor is false. But the second line, we are overloading the constructor and we are getting full name James Walter, grade point average 4, and honor status is true. So the application worked as expected. So to summarize, constructors provide developers the ability to initialize fields within a class. The usage of constructor is not required. C# will provide one automatically. However, the usage might be very limited. Constructors do not have a return value and share the same name as of the class. This is the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe and click on the notifications. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.